Assalamu alaikum student. This is Abdul Rahman from Star Grammar School System Nashar of Rose. In last session we have studied and learned about enzymes, and in this session we are starting a new section of a book called Biodiversity, and we will be studying about classification and tools of classification. And in the last section we will be dealing about viruses and all the aspects. So we will start from biodiversity. Before defining the biodiversity, we'll come to the variety of life. Variety of life means variations among various organisms, or small or larger differences between organisms. It means life comes in various forms. Okay, it means bacteria, archaea, plants, fungi, animals. These are various forms of life. So every animal is different from fungus, and fungus is different from plant. Likewise, these all three are different from this archaea and bacteria. So there are various forms of life found on earth, and there are differences between these life forms. So from viruses to unicellular organisms to complex humans, there are differences among organisms, and these differences or variation are called biodiversity or variety of life. Then our main topic is classification, and in this chapter we will be dealing with classification. So classification can be defined as grouping of different type of organism based upon their similarities in their structure. It may be external structure or internal structure, and based on their evolution. We group organism into different type of groups like these: Protista, Monera, Animalia, plants and fungi. We have grouped organisms according to their characteristics, according to their similarities and differences. This grouping of organism is called classification. And the science of classification is called taxonomy. And taxonomy, if we break the term, it means taxis, which means arrangement, and nomos, which means law. It deals with the laws of arrangement or classification. It is the study of description, identification, naming and classification of organisms. Taxonomy covers all these areas of classification. Now, needs of biological classification or aims of biological classification. Scientists classify organisms because there are a huge number of organisms found on earth. If we take example of human, so there are about 7.8 billion members of Homo sapien or humans found on earth. So it becomes very difficult to study all humans. Likewise, there are too many or large number of ants on the earth. So if we start studying individual organisms, it becomes very difficult to study. So this is why scientists classify or make groups of organisms, so it becomes easy for them to study. On the second, Scientists classify organisms to determine similarities and differences among organisms, because we classify organism on the basis of similarity and differences. We group them into various groups based on the similarities. So if we make a group of organism, the group will contain all the members which will be similar to each other. And third, scientists classify organism in order to find the evolutionary relationship between organisms. And all living organisms possess certain features or characters by which they could be identified, they could be sorted or grouped into distinct groups. These features are called characters. So we define characters as character is anything or any feature of organism whose expression can be measured, like any attribute of organism like its height, weight, color or anything else. If we take example of eye color, so eye color is a character, but there are different expressions of eye color. There are various colors of eye. These colors are called expression of character. So we can measure various colors or the variety of color of eyes. So eye color becomes a character of an organism like human. Likewise, petal length, it may be 12 mm, it may be less than 12 mm like 11 mm, it may be very shorter or it may be very longer. So petal length becomes a character and the length of the petal becomes its expression. Likewise, like in Mendel expression, there is a seed shape, seed color and seed flower color. These are the characters of pea plant. These are the characters of pea plant. If we take a seed shape, there are various expression like spherical, seed may be spherical, seed may be dented. Like if we take a color, seed may be, it may express a yellow color, it may also express a green color. So and we come to the flower. So flower can also be a purple and it may also be white. So these are the characters of pea plant and these are the expression of those characters. That's why we define character is anything or any feature of organism whose expression can be measured. Now anything in organism which we can measure, it is its character. And we classify organism based on characters. Now we come to the concept of hierarchy of biological classification. What does it mean, hierarchy? We define hierarchy as an arrangement of taxons or units in ascending order called hierarchy. Here we have example of family hierarchy, familial hierarchy, where and this biological hierarchy goes from species to kingdom. The species and kingdoms are groups of organisms which are combined to make a kingdom. And the species is a basic unit of biological classification. It means we classify species. Our classification start from species. In biological hierarchy, similar species are grouped into genus or genera, and various genera are grouped into families. Likewise, various families are grouped into an order, and orders are grouped into class. Classes are grouped into phyla, and phyla are grouped to make kingdoms. So here we have an example, like this is a species called Penthra pardis.